what's the happy haps and welcome back. So He's Out There stars Yvonne Strahovski and is all about a mother and her 2 daughters who vacate to a remote lake house overnight, which then turns into a terrifying and bizarre nightmare as they are stalked by a psychopath. I had plans to review this movie sooner, just things kept on getting in the way and work and chores, this and that. So I finally sat down and watched it, so let's get on with the positives. First and foremost, Yvonne Strahovski. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. If I'm not, forgive me. She was pretty good in this. The only other projects I've seen this actress in was the 5-year-long espionage TV series Chuck and I, Frankenstein, which came out very shortly after that show was canceled. She was good in those. But in this film, she basically plays a mother who's trying to protect her flock. Her 2 daughters, her baby birds. She's very talented. She's beautiful, cunning. She's actually my 3rd Hollywood crush next to Jessica Alba and Gal Gadot. But I wish there was more roles for this woman out there. I just don't see her pop up that much. Hollywood don't offer her much leading roles other than what she had in Chuck. She wasn't as badass in this film, He's Out There, than she was in Chuck, whole different breed, but she was good enough. She was plenty good. The kids was pretty good. I think that added a intensity to this film. Adding innocence in a very dangerous situation like this really adds to horror, and it just builds upon the fear level. Is it always necessary in horror? No, but sometimes it's a necessary evil for horror. The look and feel of this film was very dark. It was very creepy. It was very claustrophobic. You can really sense that something's going to go south very, very, very quickly, especially by the end of the first act. It builds up the characters. It builds up the setting, but it doesn't waste no time. And the score helped with that as well. It's very eerie, it's very creepy, and it's very dark score. Something that you would expect in a horror film. The concept was cool. I like the fact that this family was in danger and this psychopath was just after them, and it was sort of like a home invasion type film. Just the whole idea that this family was just stranded out in the middle of nowhere in the woods in this lake house, being stalked by this lunatic. And it really made me think what I would do in that situation if that was being my kids. And on to my mixed. The story felt a bit familiar. Unlike the concept, the whole story does feel a little bit familiar. I did get a lot of the Friday the 13th vibe in this. Only instead of teenagers screwing around and messing around, it was this family that was in this lake house. You always get the whole concept of teenagers messing around in Friday the 13th or Halloween. Well, I mean, it wasn't like that in this film, but it felt very, very close. It felt very familiar, and it felt like it kind of copied off of those others. It just felt way too familiar. Which, again, I didn't have a problem with it because it wasn't a direct line to those other films. They decided to add a family in this instead, which is why I'm putting this in the mixed. The whole family concept being in danger made it worthwhile. Not that I'm bashing the Friday the 13th movies. I love those films. I love Halloween. It's just if you're trying to make something new, go with something new. And I think that's what they did in this film with the whole family concept. It just had some moments that would remind you so much of Friday the 13th. Like when the killer would pop up from behind a tree, come up from behind you. This and that. It's just a bunch of segments, a bunch of hats off to those films. But again, I didn't have a problem with it. I just have to throw that out because that's what it felt like to me. Plus, you can tell in some of the scenes and the cinematography work that this movie was made on the cheap. There was one scene where the mother was driving off with the kids in the truck and you could see the tire spin off, and that was total full-on CGI. You could tell. And it didn't look real at all. But they did the best they could. The killer was decent, very mysterious. I liked his mask. It was sort of like a scarecrow, which is what they were intending this film to be called in the first place. But they changed it to what it is now instead. But it was like a scarecrow type mask. And I thought it was pretty eerie, pretty dark. To me, he was like the Jason Voorhees of this film. Which brings me to the negatives. And it's also about the killer. His motive. There was a part in this film where he starts talking. And you don't really get a full picture of why he's doing what he's doing. You think he's getting ready to explain it all as why he's attacking them. And he sort of does, but he keeps it on a very, very tight leash. And I don't know if they're intending on making a sequel to this, and that's why this scene played out the way it did. When he started talking, it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. and kind of lost respect for the killer. It kind of made me lose the fear, intensity, and the mysterious vibe that character brought off at first. I mean, he didn't really explain why he's doing what he's doing. But hey, if you're crazy enough, why would you need a reason anyway? Like I said, they may have saved some of that stuff for the sequel. I don't know how good this movie did. It was a direct-to-DVD hit. It was originally going to be released theatrical, but they, for some reason, dumped it and just decided to do it straight to DVD. Whether or not we'll get a sequel, especially when everything calms down, only time will tell. So if you're a fan of horror and is looking for a good thrill about survival with a hint of Friday the 13th, then this is for you. An acquired taste. So, he's out there. Have you seen it yet? What did you think of it? Did you find it chilling, thrilling? Did you like the whole stranded concept with the family? Or did you find it too familiar? Did you find that it copied too much from Friday the 13th? Did you just not find it that exciting or thrilling? Leave me your comments down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. As always, like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already. And I'll see you next go around. Peace, the Reptastic.